And our last speaker is Dr. Jolene Henning, and I hope I said that correctly. Okay, good. I can learn.
It's just like the song, Jolene.
Oh, okay, okay. She's a 1996 Catawba grad, and she's currently chair of the Department of Athletic Training at High Point University. Now, she told me that in 1992, when she was a freshman and President Worcester was here, that he told them in their first, conference to look around because 50% of them would find their mates, their life mates, at Catawba, and she did. And so, they have 2 girls, and they also have 4 chickens as pets. Okay. Noodle, Nugget, Biscuit, and Pumpkin. And unfortunately, Bojangles got eaten by a raccoon.
Yes.
But she's going to talk about balancing home, work, family, and self. And that's a very important thing for women. Thanks, Jolene.
So I get to be brief because I'm at the end, and it's really hard to talk about the balance and not be able to be lighthearted and laugh at yourself. In fact, when I told my husband what my topic was for this talk, he about fell off the bed laughing because he's like, "You've got to be kidding me." Because let me tell you, the last 48 hours in our house. So we have 2 children, 2 little girls, a 5.5-year-old and a 4-month-old. Okay. Yes, I'm the old mom at 39 who doesn't want an infant at the age of 39. In the last 48 hours, we've had a stomach virus in our house. We have taken our 4-month-old to the emergency room for respiratory distress. We have scheduled daycare for my 5.5-year-old because public schools were closed due to President's Day. Who closes on President's Day? I don't know who does that, but we did. And then figured out how to get to work and manage everything to get here. So I guess I'm the living example of how you're supposed to strike a balance in all of this. And I'll tell you that there's not a really clear secret on how to do this. At least I haven't found it. Maybe some of these more experienced women can share some wisdom with me, but I will say that, as somebody who, I'm very much a planner, okay? So I'm one of those rare people that came out of high school and said, this is what I'm going to do. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to go to Catawba. I'm going to get my master's degree. I didn't think I was going to do anything beyond that, but everything was going to fall in place for me, okay? And I was going to have a family when I turned 28 years old, and that did not happen. I did not have my first child. You can do the math. I mean, I didn't have my first child until I was 34, had the second one at 39. So being a planner is a good thing, but you also have to realize that somebody else probably has a better plan for you, honestly, okay? And so when you think about how all of this kind of coalesces together, you've got to realize that this idea of balance shifts. Okay, I think that media, quite frankly, creates this idea for us of what it's supposed to be like. And I'm the living proof of it's not like that, okay? The balance has shifted throughout my entire career. I didn't have an example in my life of how to make all of this work. My mom had 3 kids by the age of 25. I was just getting married at 25. She worked outside of the home on a very part-time basis once I got into middle school. And so there wasn't an example for me of how to do this. And there certainly was an example for me of how to do this in my particular career path of being an athletic trainer, which is very much still a pretty male-dominated area, even though we've struck a balance in terms of there are a pretty equal number of women as there are men in the profession, but you don't see that balance in leadership roles, and you certainly don't see that balance in higher education either. So I've kind of married 2 different disciplines where women tend to still be a minority in leadership. So how do you do all of this? I asked myself that a lot. I will tell you that that balance shifts kind of on a macro level and on a micro level. So as your career changes, early career, it doesn't matter what you're going into, what you're being prepared to enter beyond Catawba. The idea of a 40-hour work week does not exist, okay? So kind of get that out of your head. You're going to work your tail off very early in your career. It doesn't matter what you're going into. And take those entry-level jobs and be prepared to work long hours. Because at that point, your career, if you look at that scale, it's shifting to your career, in my experience, in my opinion. And it needs to, because you're really trying to establish yourself and learn from those mistakes and all the other advice that you've already heard. But at some point, it will start to shift in the other direction. How do you balance once you start to have a family? You'll start to make decisions based on your priorities. I'll give you a perfect example. I consider myself to kind of be mid-career, maybe, I don't know, and had an opportunity to change jobs, quite frankly, and move into essentially an associate dean's position. And I said no. I'm not going to explore that opportunity because the balance has shifted for me. That's not my priority right now. I hope that opportunity comes again, but right now I can't do that because of my family, not just my immediate family, but my extended family and a lot of other things. And it's okay to do that. I think as women, we get really nervous about what is that message if I say I can't do that because my family's important. That's okay. We think that being, the idea of being vulnerable, there's a great TEDx talk out there. I don't know if you guys watch TED Talks. There's one on vulnerability right now. I really recommend that you watch it. And we assume that being vulnerable by turning down an opportunity for advancement means that we're weak. I disagree. I think that it is an amazing act of courage to allow yourself to feel vulnerable in those situations, to say, you know what, I know I can do that job, but for me right now, that balance has to shift in a different direction, okay? And that's okay. I feel like we don't support each other as women in understanding that family is very important. That being said, whatever you're doing, whether you're at work or whether you're with your family or whether you are with yourself in those still moments, be fully present. And I think that's one of the hardest things for us to do as women. We are trying to meditate and we're thinking about the grocery list, or the fact that we've got to pick up a birthday present and we've got to do thank you notes here and we've got to do all these different things. Be present. Be present with your kids. Put these things away. When you're at work, support each other. Have a goal. Do everything you can to achieve that goal. And then when you're at home, be fully present there with your family. If I'm being honest, I can't do the things that I do without my husband. Okay? And I think that we would be doing a great disservice if we didn't acknowledge the fact that we all have to have a support system. Before I left to come here, I said to my 5-year-old, I said, remember that you have the best daddy in the world. And he looked at me and said, what did I do? Where did that come from? I said, because you do what you do, that's what allows me to do what I do. And that's really important, that you seek out whatever kind of connection, meaningful connection, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a spouse, whatever that kind of connection you need, because it takes a village, okay? Everybody's heard that saying, that it takes a village. And I'll tell you, my village has expanded tremendously, because the idea that as a woman, you're supposed to do it all and you're supposed to have it all, you can't do it. Okay? First of all, you can't do it, okay? But when you try to do it, you can't do it alone, okay? And as somebody who is a planner and a control freak, that was a hard lesson for me to learn, I think. And perhaps why my husband almost fell off the bed laughing about it, because I've had to learn you can't do this alone. My second child was a month premature. The wheels fell off of our life, okay? If it was not for my village and, quite frankly, a pretty supportive work environment, I don't know how I would have done it. So it's okay to feel those moments of vulnerability as you struggle with that tension between work and family. Everybody feels it. And it's okay to find that mentor that will support you through it. The self part of all this is the area that I think I struggle with the most. How do you not get lost? How do you not lose yourself in this chaos that is fun and that you've created? Let's be frank, you've created this. Okay. How do you not lose yourself? And I think you've got to find, I think, Karen, you mentioned the idea of what is your center. And as you mature and, using the phrase find yourself, so to speak, you've got to come to an understanding of what is it that centers you. For some people, it's meditation. For some, it's exercise. For me, it's daily devotion and weekly Bible study. Those are things that I have to have. I crave it. If I don't have that, I am so off-centered. And the balance, that scale, never finds a resting point. Okay? I think in conclusion, again, trying to be brief, for me, kind of the checking point on a daily basis is what is the message that I'm sending to my girls? You'll have some women that still in this day and age that really are very opinionated that women should not be in full-time positions, should not be working outside the home, certainly should not be in leadership roles that takes them away from their family. And I think it sends such a powerful message to my girls, even though they're very young, that mommy is achieving her dreams. And I'm doing that because of my village. I'm doing that because of my husband. And that they've got to reach out for those meaningful connections in their life, too, that's going to help them to support their dreams.
Excellent advice. Thank you.